Hello everyone and welcome to this latest instalment of my video diary of a Arsenal supporter. Excuse me. Coming to you shortly after we lost 3-2 to Southampton at St Mary's. First and foremost, I just want to say to all you negative naysay gooners out there that have suddenly hit Twitter like we have just lost our 10th game on the bounce and are in the relegation zone, you want to get a grip. We lost to a Southampton side that have been buoyed by their manager, a new manager who, people say these terms in football now like manager bounce and all that sort of stuff, but this is an Arsenal side that have been leggy recently. The performances have been dropping off. The Spurs game aside, the 2 games previous to this, the carrier bag, 5 pence we're going to call them, 5p, and the Huddersfield game, it's felt like a bit of a slog watching Arsenal, almost like I said, they're leggy, and people have started to suss them out a little bit. There have also been people that say this sort of performance has been coming since the Fulham game, probably when we managed to turn it around quite late in the game. But it's one loss in 22. This is a transitional period for the team. I was saying in my last video how this team is now Unai Emery's team. His 5 signings are now bedded and have made the team. So that's the transition there, going from the Arsene Wenger team to this one. But he didn't have Socrates there to play today. It's a weird one for me. It's the first time I've sort of questioned his. I'm not criticising. I'm questioning his decision to leave Lacazette on the bench today, whereas played him in midweek. He's better than that. He's better than playing against teams like 5p. Away from home, especially against Southampton, a team we never do well against at St Mary's at Christmas. We always seem to play on those periods. We need someone like I said. They've got good old-fashioned centre halves, and as good as Aubameyang is, and he should have could have probably scored a couple of goals today. As good as he is, he's not a buffer. He's not a battering ram like Lacazette can be. And we've said before, we all know, all the gooners know that they work better as a team anyway. So it's still a strange decision to play both of them. I think this is the sort of game where Ozil probably should have started and would have made a difference from the off. He's going to get pelters, I know, for trying to do that turn away dummy that led to their 3rd goal. But I think I read somewhere that if you look at the stats, he created more chances in the 25 minutes he was on than anyone else for the rest of the team. It was a strange decision to start Guendouzi and Torreira. These are all little things. Before I carry on going, let's say Southampton deserved it, right? Their new manager has now had a week to work with them, get into their psyche, know his players better. Last week they were still Mark Hughes' team. This week they're Mark Hughes' team. He hasn't brought in any. Obviously, he hasn't been buying any of his own players or anything. But they've had a week to work on something, and they've run harder for him. These guys, the new manager bounce is basically all about suddenly people putting a bit more of a shifting. So they either want to keep their place in the side, or they want to get back into the side, or they didn't like the last manager, so they'd given up on him. So that's where that bounce thing comes from, and that's what you saw today. Danny Ings with 2 great headers, to be fair to him. I think a fully fit and functioning Cos probably would have stopped one of them, out-jumped him, but other than that, we should really probably have stopped the ball at the source before it got to Danny, but to be fair, he stuck his head on them, and both different types of headers. And Southampton gave us a game of it. They were at home, new home game. Like I say, under their new manager, the fans are up for it, the players are up for it. It was just one of those things. The run had to come to an end at some point. The best that can be said is it didn't happen against A, Spurs, or B, anyone else inside that top 4. Where we're trying to break into. So, in the 22 match unbeaten run, we've drawn against the top 4. we've drawn 1, lost 2, and won 1. So that's not a bad return from where we were last year. Again, I've said it before. You can't really compare. Although Gary Lineker likes to compare Arsene Wenger and Mauricio Pochettino, bizarre. Don't even get me started. But this Arsenal team does have a little bit extra, right? But it's a game I think we probably would have lost 3-1 or 3-0 last year. I don't know if we'd have scored. We got lucky with the second goal, hands up. But, we had a shot from outside the box, one of the things we probably wouldn't have done last year. And that, for me, people saying, you'll see on Twitter, people saying we're embarrassing. Certain people on a certain fan channel were saying it was an embarrassment. It wasn't embarrassing. We didn't embarrass ourselves. We were a little bit sloppy, a little bit leggy. Like I say, they wanted it more than we did. But it was just one of those things. And like I say, last year probably it would have been embarrassing. It would have been a 3-0 or 3-1. But the way I look at it, I like to draw positives from everything. I'm a bit of a weird, sad case like that. I get angry in the moment. I let it slide. That's why I do a video a little bit later. It's not quite as raw, and you get the chance to look back at it and reflect and think. And this one for me, it would only have been, looking back at the game, if it had been a draw, which we wouldn't really have deserved over the balance of the whole game. It would only have been 1 point gained, right? We were never in the lead. We were never on top for more than 10 minutes tops, really. The first half, I think the stats were, it was like 68% in our half. So Southampton were on it. This is a team that drew 2-2 with Manchester United. Was it last week they drew 2-2 with Manchester United? In Mark Hughes' last game, they drew 2-2 with Man United. They went 2-0 up. So they can score goals. They were just conceding goals. And basically mirroring us in that respect. We're scoring goals and conceding goals. This whole stupid stat I keep going on about us never winning a game at half time happened again. But we probably should have gone in level at half time, but we got undone. But it's just a weird moment being an Arsenal supporter at the moment, because there are so many people out there that are so much more high profile, say, than me or whatever, and you listen and you hear and you read and you see these different viewpoints, which is great. Everyone's got their own viewpoint, but you think to yourself, I don't understand where they're coming from, right? For me personally, it's a good thing that the run has come to an end. I know obviously we all want to, you've got the Invincibles, and Liverpool are currently unbeaten at the top of the league and whatnot, and the longer an unbeaten run goes, the more confidence you get and everything like that. But also, conversely, you have the worry that they're going to lose that unbeaten run. So you start to get nervous energy and bubbly, and we've got to get something. And that's probably when mistakes start making, because you think, I've got to try and get another goal to try and at least get a draw back. Whereas if you're more relaxed about it, then that sort of stuff just happens and just comes, and it builds on that, So, in a way, it might have been a good thing that happened at Southampton, because we can brush that off a little bit. And that's no disrespect to Southampton. We could just say we had an off day against a team a little bit lower than us, but we go again. And we do go again. We'll start again in midweek against Tottenham in the Carabao Cup. It'll be a different side again. Lacazette will probably start. Ozil will probably start. We are getting threadbare with defenders, and that's another positive to take from this game. It was what you would call a makeshift backline. Granit Xhaka in there. We lost Bellerin mid game, so it was makeshift. And people will say, well, Arsene Wenger got to the Champions League final with Mathieu Flamini at left back. Yeah, he did. But this was just a game too far. It happens. Personally, for me, I would like to have seen Cos play against 5p the whole match, not come off after 70. You needed 90 minutes to play. And probably, it's going to be a big one. I would probably play Jenks today at centre-half. And I would have kept Xhaka in the midfield. People will slaughter players, right? I will criticise players. Alex Iwobi, last year, for instance, I used to call him one touch because that's all the touches you'd get. It was like Lukaku, it'd bounce off him and go somewhere else. This year, he's improved. Hands down, he's improved much better. Until he gets near the box, then becomes the jigsaw. He doesn't pick the right ball. He's a bit like Theo Walcott. It's a cross-come shot type scenario. So he needs to work on that, and that's fine. He's a young lad. He's going to work on bits and pieces of his game. I'm sure Emery will start to tell him, right, this is what we need to do on this part of your game, and blah, blah, blah. You can critique those bits, but you don't hammer the players, right? And so Xhaka, he was, or is, probably liable to switch off, right? But he also does work that people don't spot. And that's another thing with me with Ozil. People don't watch the full game, or they don't watch the player a lot. They just watch what they're told to watch, and they just think what they're supposed to think because that's what the narrative that goes alongside it. It's all the little bits and pieces that you don't realise that just make a game tick over and keep you in possession. That's what Torreira is so good at. There's that bit in the Spurs game. You watch it right near the end, and it's in the corner. And he's just winning, just trying to fight and keep the ball. It's little moments like that go unnoticed a lot of the time because of the narrative that's already been put ahead. If you've got Ozil, Xhaka, and even Ramsey in that side today, I don't think we lose the game in the middle of the park. Mkhitaryan done well, got his 2 goals. Personally, I still think that Ramsey, Xhaka and Ozil are 3 better players than that one Mkhitaryan, and he should have been in there. I think the substitution of Iwobi to Lacazette and Lacazette for Iwobi is becoming tired and old hat and a bit Arsene Wenger about the whole thing. But you know, we've got to trust the manager. He's got us to 22 games unbeaten, and as I say, we've played Spurs, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man City in that set of fixtures. And Man City, okay, it's first game of the season. We were going to lose that one, I think. Always going to lose that one. Chelsea, like I said before, a million times, we played that now, we would win that game. Spurs, it was a North London derby, form, statistics, everything go out the window, and it's just one of those crazy games. Man United probably is the only game where we got the result that we didn't. Neither team got the result they deserved. The Chelsea game, we were on top. When we come back, you know, we got back into the team, into the game. It should have really finished 2-2. They got lucky in the end, and probably deserved it. Shaded it on the day. But the Man United game, I think, is the one game in that sequence of the top 6 teams, all of us playing each other, where I think it was the wrong result. But that was just poor defending. See, and that's what I mean. That's what I keep coming back to the Southampton game. They might have watched that and seen that and gone, right, look, this is what we do. This is how we act. Whereas, you know, Mark Hughes' team probably wouldn't have gone into such detail or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. You know, I don't know thing. But I think personally, Southampton are better off without him. I don't like people like Mark Hughes in the Premier League. I think their time has been and gone. I genuinely think someone like Mourinho needs to leave now. I think he's had his moment. You know, it was a bright start that shone quickly and burnt out even quicker.